Welcome back to the Demon Slayer Gaming channel. We're going to be continuing our Final Fantasy XIV Dungeon Guide series today. We're going to be taking a look at the third and final Alliance raid in A Realm Reborn, the World of Darkness. If this video helps you out in any way, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, as it really does help me out. Starting off, you'll proceed up the stairs and it'll lead you to the first group of trash mobs. These are meant to be tanked one per tank, but you can just have one person pick all of them up. It doesn't really matter. They do have frontal cone AoEs, so try to face them away from the group. And they have abilities that are also interruptible, so keep an eye on their dragon's voice and interrupt it when you can. You want to avoid standing in the circular AoEs or getting hit by the cone AoEs, as they will lock you in place. After all three of them are dead, then a two-headed dragon will spawn in the middle that you'll want to just pick up. And then several sacrifice ninjas and kunoichis will spawn on the side of the platform and behind you. The off tanks should just go pick those up, but you'll just pick them all up and AoE them down. It's pretty easy. After this, you'll proceed up the stairs again, and this will bring you to the first boss. Now for the first boss, you do want to make sure that you are facing him away from the rest of the group, as his auto attack is a large line AoE that'll go through the tank. When he casts double vision, you'll want to stand on either the blue or red side. Remember which side that you stood on, because next time he casts it, you will want to alternate sides. After the double vision, he'll start casting Stare, which is going to be the line AoE through the tank. So he'll then pick one person in the group and immobilize them while casting level 100 Flare on top of them. So if there are enough people in the circle that equal a increment of 100, it will instantly kill those people. Then he'll spawn final hourglasses on the outside of the platform that all DPS should switch to and kill, while a hand will begin to rotate around the platform. You'll want to just keep an eye on where the hand eventually ends up stopping, and it lights up the platform, and then you'll want to move out of that section. When you cast Mortal Gaze, you'll just want to look away right as the cast is finishing so you don't receive the Doom effect. If you are affected with the Doom effect from Mortal Gaze, you'll need to move to one of the glowing platforms so that it will remove your Doom. Shortly after this, the hand should stop and begin doing its AoE wherever it stopped on the platform. You'll just want to move out of this or it will instantly kill you. He'll then spawn two more ads that you'll want to just pick up and kill really quickly before casting double vision again, so make sure you're alternating colors here. He'll then pick one party member and cast level 150 death. So if there is 3, 6, 9 people, any increment like that, then it will instantly kill them. Again, for Mortal Gaze, just make sure to look away, and if you don't, for whatever reason, then just go stand on one of the circular platforms that are glowing. Towards the end of the fight, he'll do double vision again, along with summoning the final hourglasses and the rotating hand. But he should die during these mechanics, so you don't have to worry about most of them. After this, you'll proceed over to the side where it will open up a secondary stairs that you'll just proceed up the ramp to go towards the next set of trash pools. You'll then face a smaller version of Skilla, Whenever she begins casting Ancient Flare, you'll just want to interrupt it. When she's about halfway dead, there will be some forbidden gates that will spawn on the north and south side of the platform. You'll want to just switch damage to these and kill them as soon as you can before they finish casting their summon ability. After they are all dead, then a treasure chest will spawn in the middle. Whenever you open it up, then Zondi's clone will come out. The main tank on him will just want to interrupt Ancient Quagga whenever he begins casting it. And as soon as he spawns, there will be 6 more gates that will spawn on the north and south side that you'll want to finish off before they finish summoning more adds again. And proceed up these stairs and lead you to the second boss. For the Five-Headed Dragon, when you pick him up, you'll want to drag him all the way to the back of the platform to give the rest of the group the entire platform to work around avoiding the rest of his abilities. White Breath is a frontal AoE that you'll want to avoid getting hit by, as it does affect you with Infirmity, which will reduce the amount of healing you receive, and it lasts for 30 seconds, so it's quite a long debuff. During the entire fight, there will be meteors that will fall from the sky that will then summon red dragonflies that will tether to individual people. This tether needs to be passed to other people by running through them so that you can prevent receiving too many stacks of the debuff from it. When he begins casting Discordance, you will want to AoE down all of the heads before he finishes his cast time, otherwise it will kill the entire group. When he spawns the circular AoEs on the platform, you'll just want to move out of them. There is a group up mechanic that you'll want to group to split the damage for. When the prominence spawn after the AoE hits the platform, you'll want to just switch damage to it and kill it. And when the poison lands on the platform, one person will want to go stand in it to avoid the poison slime spawning. Otherwise, they will just continue to spawn and rush to people and explode. When he targets one person with a gold sphere that has a rotating gear on top and bottom of it, this is going to do a knock-up effect on that person in a very large AoE. So they'll want to move as far away from the group as possible, while the rest of the group positions on the opposite side of the platform. Make sure that you are switching to the adds and killing them, as they provide the entire raid with vulnerability debuffs along with silencing the group if you don't kill them in time. And that should be it for the second boss. Moving to the next set of adds, this works the same way as the previous alliance raids, where it's group A on the left, group B in the middle, and group C on the right. Make sure everyone goes to their respective platforms before you're able to aggro them and pick it up. Whenever one person receives a marker on them, this will cause that person to shortly be drawn into the Moaning Adamus. They'll then turn to a random person and begin to cast White Hole. Everyone should avoid standing next to the marked person, and then move out of the AoE after it begins being cast. After this, you'll want to move over to the glowing platform to cause the platforms on the outside to activate so that the person that got knocked off can jump back up. When this happens, the Moniatmus will also do a shockwave from the middle of the platform, so you'll want to get as close to him as possible or use knockback prevention to avoid being knocked off. And from here, the fight will continuously rotate between the Moniatmus sucking someone in and then blowing them off the platform and then doing a shockwave. So you'll just rotate those three mechanics over and over again. This will bring you to Cerberus, the third boss. In this boss, most groups are going to approach it as Group A handles the adds, Group B handles the belly, and Group C handles the chains. The only issue with that is that Group C handling the chains doesn't have to do anything until after the belly is already defeated. So it's actually much better to have Group B and Group C go into the belly and do that mechanic as quick as possible so you have as much uptime on the boss. But you'll start off like normal, pick the boss up, and tank him to one of the sides. His attacks will also constantly apply a slashing vulnerability debuff. After a little while into the fight, Cerberus will break his chains. At this time, he'll begin doing much more damage, along with having several other abilities. When he targets a random party member, he'll shortly afterwards throw a gastric juice at them. The Group B and Group C will want to go stand next to the gastric juice and allow it to get hit by the AoE that it is spewing out, as this will affect you with a mini debuff. Then those members will go into the purple AoE on the side that the adds are spawning out of, which will cause Cerberus to go over and eat them. If you are in the purple AoE when you do not have the mini debuff, then he will instantly kill you. But once you go into the belly, then you will kill the walls that are inside of there. There will be several adds, and you want to focus on the walls and ignore the slime adds. But once all the walls are down, then you'll get kicked out of the belly and the fight will proceed on. While this is happening, Group A should be focusing all damage on the adds. During this time, Cerberus will be casting abilities like Hound Out of Hell, where he'll target a random party member and do a charge at them. You just want to avoid standing in front of him. He'll do Predator Claws on the tank, which is a high damaging ability that also applies a slashing resistance debuff, so the tank will need extra healing, along with doing a frontal line AoE from all three heads. Whenever people get the white circle above them, this is a fear effect. You'll want to make sure that you're standing next to other people, otherwise you will lose control of your character. After all the walls in the belly are down, Cerberus will lose a large portion of his HP and then will be knocked unconscious for a while beginning to cast Reawaken. This is the time that Group C would go grab the chains and bring them over to him and click on him to tether him again. You do not need to do this though until his Reawaken is almost done casting. So at this time, you should be focusing on doing as much damage as possible while he is completely stunned and can't do anything. Once you reattach the chains, then he'll go back to fighting like normal. He will summon multiple lightning orbs on the platform that will shoot across the platform in line AoEs, so you'll just want to avoid standing in front of these. He'll begin casting Hound Out of Hell during this phase too, just don't be standing in front of him when he does this. Tail Blow is the cone AoE behind him that you'll just want to quickly move out of. And that should be it for Cerberus. And then you'll just proceed up the stairs directly to the fourth and final boss. For the Cloud of Darkness, all normal attacks apply bleeding, so the tank's going to need a bit of extra healing at this point. Faint Particle Beam, throw out a circular AoE at one targeted party member that will then do several AoEs that will follow that person, so you'll want to make sure you're moving a good distance away from the location where the AoE hits. When the Cloud of Darkness disappears, she'll come back and cast 0 degree Particle Beam, which will do a large AoE directly in front of her. Make sure that you're not standing in front of her so you can avoid being hit by this. Shortly after this, she'll spawn multiple sort of comet mechanics that you'll want to make sure one person is standing in each of these circles. After this, she'll begin to spawn dark clouds and try to suck them in. During this time, she'll be invulnerable to all damage, so you'll just want to focus down the dark clouds and the dark storms that are spawning. You'll want to try to position yourself in between, as having people in between slows their movement down. Also during this phase, she'll summon the particle beams that you'll need to have one party member in each of these circles to absorb the damage of. There will be 2 different sets of these. After all of the dark clouds and storms are dead, then you'll be able to go back to damaging the boss again. When she finally says darkness take you all, then she will do a party-wide damaging AoE before disappearing and summoning 3 hypercharged clouds. At this time, you should split into your separate groups and focus down the clouds. With the placement on the platform, sometimes it will be hard to go to your designated group. So as long as you can get inside of one of the hexagons to start killing the hypercharged cloud. When she comes back to the platform, you just want to burn all limit breaks and just focus her down so that you can finish off the fight. And this should be it for the World of Darkness. I hope this helped everyone out. If it did, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you on the next one.